I'm Dale Lawrence. Welcome to the Travel Show. What's your idea of a dream hotel? Location, the staff, the restaurants, the view. In Bangkok, there's an amazing choice of hotels that suits every traveler's taste. Some guests like to be by the river, others prefer the hustle and bustle down the Sukhumvit Road. There's one hotel here in Bangkok that's really trying to meet every traveler's dream. Join us after the break when we go behind the scenes at the Dream Hotel. Well, now joining me is Robert Yearman, the General Manager of the Dream. Robert, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you for coming. Welcome.
I'm trying to find a word that best describes the Dream Hotel. A couple come to mind: boutique,
Yes.
chic.
Chic.
Is there actually a word in the English language that describes it?
Actually, this word boutique, it's used in North America and in UK to describe this special type of hotel. I think boutique means something very luxury, unusual, not too big. Therefore, we have 2 buildings and 100 rooms and 95 rooms. So a boutique hotel should not be over 100 rooms.
Well, I think when you probably opened in 2006, you were justifiably described as a boutique hotel.
Correct,
But
yes.
since Dream 2 opened, and
Yes.
we'll take a look at that in a
Yes.
moment or two,
Yeah.
the following year, of course, you almost doubled your size, and so you've probably just outgrown that boutique label, haven't you?
Not really. If it would be in one large high-rising building, yes. But we have 2 buildings, and as I said, here we have in Dream 1, we have 95 rooms in 6 different categories, and we have identical rooms in Dream 2. So when you are in a building like that, you don't feel that it is too big.
And this is a location that's very popular with event organisers in
That's right,
Bangkok,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
I noticed that you recently had a Playboy event here. Probably the envy of some of your colleagues elsewhere in the hotel industry. What attracts the event organisers to come to the Dream?
Yes, you're right. Especially also this event here, the Flava restaurant and the bar, if it's combined, especially in the evening, with our special light effect we have in the ceiling, we can change that into different lights. It's a fantastic venue for such parties. We do a lot of team parties. We also have regular events like a salsa night or a tango night. And it's very popular also for companies, for product launches, for press conference, for staff parties.
I must say the tango night sounds very interesting. So where are they doing the dancing then?
Actually, here in the restaurant,
Right.
we clear,
So
we
you clear
clear,
the
we
tables,
clear
do
the
you?
middle, and then people still can eat around,
Right.
and sit in the lounge and dance. It's very beautiful,
Can
we have fantastic
Can you
dancers.
come to the Dream for a tango lesson, or do you have to be
Yes,
an accomplished dancer?
there is Kun Suk, is a lady, and sometimes they also organize lessons as well.
We've come to the rooftop pool, Robert, and I mean we're here getting rather warm in the heat of the
It is,
midday
yes.
sun. But at night, I mean this particular location is transformed, isn't it? And it is a very popular location for events and private parties.
That's correct. At night it looks completely different with all the light effects we have in the pool. Even where we stand here, there's some illumination, some night light. Then we have here this Flava Light. It's a 2-story small restaurant, and this is a very popular venue. We do here a series of pool parties organized by the hotel, but then also, of course, for private functions, it's very popular. It's like that with little shows, fashion shows, things like that. And it's a lot of fun because it's beautiful in the evening up here. Yes.
Indeed. Now, if you do a Google search for the Dream Hotel, you get a very interesting comment come up, and it talks about discovering a hotel in Bangkok with a naughty streak. And I'm just wondering how naughty it gets and if this is where it all happens.
I mean, naughty, let's face it, you know, we are also a family hotel and we have, as I mentioned, elderly couple and so. No, but you know, we have, first of all...
Well, you don't just have to be young to be naughty, I
Not,
don't
that's
think.
correct, yes, there you're right. But you see, this hotel, due to our very special, unique design, is used a lot for fashion shooting also. Let's say we had even Miss Thailand here for fashion shooting and other famous model from international magazines. It's also used for a lot of film shooting, commercial, music TVs, because of our very unique design, which is part of this boutique hotel.
So, a good place to do some star spotting there, I would imagine.
Once in a while, yes.
Robert, we've come full circle. We're now back in the Flower Bar in the Dream One building. I mean, competition is very fierce, isn't it? Oh, I mean, where would you see your main competitors sitting there?
You see, normally speaking, you would say they are other boutique hotels, but nowadays, because even all the five-star hotel just here, our neighbors, very big hotels, as you know, and all these hotels also, they offer very low rates, especially also to travel agents. So even all the big five-star hotel are our competitors again.
Robert Yearman, thank you very much indeed. Well, that's it for our exclusive look behind the scenes at the Dream Hotel here in Bangkok. In a moment, we'll be going on the record with the man responsible for promoting tourism right across the Mekong region. But first, here's a roundup of the latest news. There's a new look to staff working for Asia's boutique carrier, Bangkok Airways. Employees were on the catwalk at the Bangkok International Fashion Week to showcase new uniforms designed for the airline's 1,200 frontline staff. Nandika Varavan, the airline's vice president for corporate communications, told us that the previous uniform had been in use for almost 20 years. She said that this new design is modern in style and also very comfortable to wear. Staying with aviation, the daily online travel news service TTR reports that Can Air, a new domestic airline based at Chiang Mai in northern Thailand, is planning to add new destinations to its timetable. Top of the list is Umpang in Tak province. Can Air hopes to use a deserted airfield owned by the provincial government. The runway would need to be extended before services could begin.
Amazing Thailand, just as amazing as you remember.
Welcome back. Now, the Mekong Tourism Forum takes place later this month in the sleepy provincial city of Paksay in southern Laos. It's an event that was revived last year thanks mainly to funding from the US taxpayer. But amid controversy in both Thailand and the United States, that the program was benefiting the military government in Myanmar, that funding has been pulled. But that's not deterring the executive director of the Mekong Tourism Coordinating Office, Mason Florence. Join me here at the Dusit Harding Hotel in Bangkok after the break, where Mason Florence goes on the record. Mason, thanks for joining us on the travel show today. Now look, how are you going to face up to life after USAID, now that you've lost that all-important funding?
Well, it wasn't so much that we lost the funding. We had tremendous support last year from the ACE project, which was funded by USAID, and we were very grateful for that funding, of course. The project is no longer operating, so we're no longer seeking funding from them. We are, however, getting great support from other partners in the private sector, also in the development world, and of course our hosts in Laos are being very, very generous with the arrangements.
We'll come on to that in a minute. I just want to stay on this rather sensitive issue of Myanmar, and it's an issue that gets a lot of people worked up. People have some very firm, decisive views about it. It is by definition, isn't it, a Mekong tourism nation, and your office is actively promoting travel opportunities in Myanmar. Your website has a link to the Myanmar Tourism Board. So where do you stand on this thorny issue?
To us, it's not a thorny issue. There's nothing controversial or thorny about it at all. Myanmar is one of our members. We have 6 member countries in our organization, and we're supporting tourism to Myanmar in the same sense that we're supporting tourism to our other stakeholders in the Mekong region. The important thing where we come from is that there's, if possible, a pro-poor element. Sustainable tourism, responsible tourism element to what we are promoting. We're not really promoting mass tourism in any way, and the more overland travel that we can see happening, cross-border overland travel, sort of linking the different countries in the Mekong, the better for us. But Myanmar is one of our members.
And I mean, those that support your view say that by encouraging people to take a holiday, a vacation in Myanmar, you are supporting the domestic economy and helping those people that work either directly or indirectly in tourism. Can you put a valid case for sustainable tourism, though?
Absolutely. I mean, well, going back to your question, tourism is good for the economy, period. Tourism also can come with negative social impacts. So when we're trying to promote tourism and trying to increase the number of people, not only the number of people, but the length of stay and the amount of money that people are spending, we'd also like to know that people are spending money in a sustainable and responsible way, not patronizing establishments they shouldn't be patronizing, and again, hopefully trying to spread some of the benefits of their dollars further than normal.
But the whole point about this controversy that arose last year with the funding through the USAID program was that it was upsetting people in Congress, senators in Congress. I think that they felt that indirectly the generals in Myanmar were benefiting from a US taxpayers program that was ostensibly here to promote tourism. And I mean, were you angered or embarrassed by this whole kerfuffle?
A bit aggravated for the fact that most of the people that are critical of tourism, travel and tourism to Myanmar don't really know what they're talking about and haven't ever been to Myanmar, and are also, I think, under some mistaken impression that money is going to some place it shouldn't go.
So just wrapping up this Myanmar issue, do you feel that your critics were misguided, or did they simply have a predetermined view that was influencing their actions against you?
I think people, some people there was a kind of knee-jerk reaction to this issue of U.S. taxpayer dollars being...
Well, because I mean the critics were in Thailand and the United States, weren't they? And there seemed to be some sort of movement to kill the funding program.
Sure.
Simply on the Myanmar issue.
Sure. I mean, it's a complicated issue. The U.S. government is in great support of ASEAN as an entity. Myanmar is a member of ASEAN. The U.S. government also has restrictions on engagement with Myanmar as a single country. So it's not a simple issue. But again, from where we stand, we're in full support of people traveling to Myanmar, spending money in Myanmar, and helping obviously the poor people with careers in tourism and other ways that tourism can generate revenue for the country.
Well, thank you for clearing that. Now, let's move on to what is the principal event in your calendar, and this is the Mekong Tourism Forum, which I mentioned at the start of the show, is taking place later this month in Paxi. Some might think it perhaps an unusual choice of destination. Last year you were in Siem Reap, of course.
Yes.
Is it a conscious decision on your part, now that the event has been revived, to move around the region?
Yes, well, we do rotate every year. The forum will rotate alphabetically among our member countries. In terms of the selection of where it's held, this is selected by the host country, not so much by us. They do confer with us and consult with us. I did have our colleagues at the Lao National Tourism Administration ask during the forum last year in Siem Reap, what do you think about the possibility of not doing it in Vientiane or not doing it in Luang Prabang, but perhaps somewhere different?
Which would have been the obvious choices to many, I think.
Yes. In terms of infrastructure, access,
yes.
Convenience for sure. But we are trying to promote overland travel. We're trying to promote emerging destinations, secondary destinations, new products, and we're also trying to attract the industry to the event. The travel industry in the Mekong region, I'm sorry, has been to Vientiane 50 times and they've been to Luang Prabang 100 times. A lot of our friends that are coming to the Mekong Tourism Forum have never been to Paksay before. One of the reasons they're attending the event is for the sheer fact that it's in a place that they've never been. And it's not some backwater. It's a fantastic city on the Mekong River, a beautiful city, and the province itself has so much going on. But keep an eye on Paksay. I think you'll be hearing a lot more about it.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the Mekong Tourism Forum in just a moment, but we'll take a short break.
Amazing Thailand always amazes you.
This view is enough to make anyone happy. You're looking at the beautiful blooms at Doi Ang Khang National Park at Tambon Mengon, Ampere Phang in Chiang Mai Province. The national park is on a mountain near the Thai-Burmese border, less than 140 kilometers from the city of Chiang Mai to the north. The most popular sightseeing spot in Doi Ang Khang is Ang Khang Royal Agricultural Station, which is the first demonstration site of vegetables, flowers, and fruits plantation under the patronage of His Majesty the King. This area enjoys a cool climate all year round, especially from December to January. So if you're planning to come around here, make sure to pack a sweater.
Welcome back. Now, Mason Florence, what are the main themes of the Mekong Tourism Forum this year, and who's going to it?
Okay. The theme this year is Destination Mekong, the Making of a Star. And it's a concept that we've been developing to basically look at tourism and look at tourism promotion in the same way that you would look at the promotion of a singer or a Hollywood actor.
It sounds a bit like American Idol.
It is.
God forbid.
Well, no, it is in a sense. It's basically, and a colleague of mine came up with this idea that there are fundamental components that you need to have in order to put any place on the map as a tourism destination. This includes investment, infrastructure, infrastructure, product development, human resource development, service standard development, and marketing, of course, at the tail end of everything. And if you have 2 or 3 of these components, but not the other 2, you're probably not going to make it as a star. You're not going to become a tourism star. You need all 5, basically, of these main components that we're talking about. So we've basically structured the forum around this idea of turning the Mekong region into a star on the world tourism map.
Right, but presumably with Paekse as a focus.
Yes.
The city and the province
Yes.
in which it lies as the focus. So are the people that are going to be the delegates at your conference, do they go away and be considering seriously adding that region to their own portfolio of packages to offer to their clients?
We sure hope so. I mean, there's already quite a bit going on in the area, and the forum itself, we're attracting public sector, private sector, development world, obviously the media, et cetera, and a fair number of consumers who are just interested in tourism in the region. But no, absolutely, the private sector is very, very interested to come out and sort of check this area out and see if they can't get it into their itineraries. There are some that are already promoting the area quite heavily, and others that aren't. So,
well, I think one of your delegates is actually a gentleman we were talking to on the show very recently, Willem Niemeyer from the Kiri Group.
Yes.
Who are active, of course, right across the Mekong region. So it's probably not a new destination for them, but there must be many other tour operators and travel agents that don't really have a great deal of knowledge or understanding about that particular part of the Mekong region.
Sure.
You're clearly hoping to educate them at this forum.
Sure, and also to educate them to the fact that, or enlighten them to the fact that the overland connections are so much easier now. The roads have been paved, the border crossings are getting, the facilitation at the borders is a lot easier than it was in the past, and you can do these multi-country itineraries, and if you put something in a catalog, a single destination, single product program together, it may not be so interesting, but suddenly if you can tell people we're going to do Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos on this incredible sort of heritage loop, nature, culture, heritage, adventure course, it starts to get it to be very interesting.
And is that really one of your core objectives? I mean, your head office happens to be based in Bangkok.
Yes.
But you clearly can't show favoritism to any of your member nations, can you?
No, of course not. Again, we're all about overland travel, about multi-country itineraries, and sort of looking at traveling along routes, thematic routes, throughout the region.
But the vast majority of the people who are responding to your campaigns are going to be flying into Bangkok first, aren't they?
At the moment, yes, but again, this is shifting as well. I think there are other airports in the region that are getting more and more prominence, expanding their facilities, making bigger runways, for example, and starting to be able to handle. Obviously, in Vietnam, we're seeing a lot of direct flights coming in now from Europe. Phnom Penh, just yesterday, I read Air France has
just
a new
reopened a very, very old historic route.
That's right. So, I mean, Bangkok is and will remain, I think, the hub for most air travelers, but the other countries are definitely...
So Thailand will always be an advantage in that sense, that the vast majority of the visitors are coming to Thailand first.
Yes.
Then they're going to be spending money here and exploring here before they move on to perhaps neighbouring countries.
Sure.
Certainly in the short to medium term.
Sure, but that's an attraction as well. I mean, a lot of travelers I meet love, they could have been here 20 times to Thailand, and they still like to pop in, and even for a couple of days. It could be a bit of food, it could be a bit of beach, it could be a bit of the north, but people don't mind having a little dose of Thailand before they go off and explore somewhere else in the region.
So the tourism forum is not only open to the travel industry?
No.
Travelers can attend as well, can they?
Sure. We were surprised last year in Cambodia. We had a lot of people that were just travelers that were curious to come out, and we're very engaged in the forum as well.
Did you satisfy their curiosity?
I hope so. Yeah, I think we did. We had some very interesting speakers last year, and this year as well. We've got a really interesting lineup of people coming. Again, development world people from organizations like SNV and UNWTO, from Friends International, Child Safe Program on the development side, from the private sector. You mentioned Willem from Kiri Travel.
Indeed, yes.
We've got friends from Spice Roads.
But you've also got a celebrity chef coming, haven't you? You've got Bobby Chin, who has an eponymous restaurant, I think, in Hanoi.
That's right.
What's the angle with Bobby Chin coming to talk to delegates in Paksay?
The angle is well, two things. One, food is an integral part of travel.
And it's one of the reasons that draws people here, I think.
Absolutely.
The rich variety
Absolutely.
of cuisine.
Yeah, especially in the Mekong region. So varied, as you say, but also so delicious and so interesting. So Bobby himself became a star here in the Mekong region. He basically moved to Hanoi, not washing dishes, but sort of working in the lower.
He probably did a bit of that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did in the lower echelon of the kitchen, and basically himself sort of had to rise up through the ranks, and as you said, opened up his own sort of signature restaurant, and then he got television shows on Discovery.
He's got an interesting back. I think he's a New Zealander by birth, isn't he?
He's born in New Zealand.
Went to school in Britain, I think.
Went to school in Britain and France. He's half Hong Kong Chinese, half Egyptian.
Yes.
So Bobby's quite a global.
And what's he going to? Is he there to give some light relief, or is it a serious point that you're trying to make that food is an integral part of the travel experience in the Mekong region?
Well, it's a serious point, but it's also entertaining in the same sense. Bobby is an entertainer, and he's a very colorful character, as you'd know if you've seen him on television at all, and on this World Cafe Asia or any of the other shows that he's produced and presented on. I think Bobby will, what we're planning to do is have a bit of a Q&A session, an interview format thing where we can find out more about him, and then in the evening there's going to be a local food fair hosted by LNTA, at which Bobby will be stationed, hopefully with some other friends from around the Mekong region, and we're hoping that Bobby can learn, maybe do a little bit of cooking and demonstrate something that he has to share, but also he's requested to go home with recipes. He needs to justify the trip. So he said, look, if I can learn a few recipes, so we have the feelers out now to our friends in the GMS, if anybody would like to come.
GMS being the
Greater Mekong sub-region.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I know.
So are you asking all your delegates to Paksay to bring their own home recipes with them?
Well, we are, at least for one person to come with a dish that they could teach to Bobby Chan, and maybe he could end up using it in his restaurant, which would be great for the Mekong as well. We'll get more. We'll get a Mekong section on Bobby Chan's menu if we're lucky.
Now, looking beyond the forum, and I know it's a major event in your calendar, as I said before, but you do face a challenge, don't you, in generating the support and interest from the industry, public and private sector, because without funds you can't perform the important tasks that you have on your plate. Where are you finding the financial support from now?
Well, I mean, our organization is funded by the 6 countries to begin with, so we do have there's an annual buy-in from each country for the operations of our office, and we're very grateful to have that. If we didn't, we wouldn't have a place to operate from and staff to operate the office. We're also doing a lot of partnerships with private sector entities, with tour companies, with airlines, with restaurants and spas and other sort of tourism operators in the region. You don't need to have a ton of money to get things done, and then sometimes when you don't have the cash, it forces you into creative partnerships. Absolutely, we'd like to be seeking more funding further down the road.
Mason, finally, things are looking better for tourism in the region now, aren't they? Thailand is predicting anywhere between 16 and 17 million international arrivals this year. Laos had a pretty good year last year. Things are looking good in Vietnam and Cambodia. Are you confident that better times are ahead for the tourism industry in the region?
Oh, absolutely, across the board. Myanmar as well. I mean, actually, every one of our stakeholders individually are getting better numbers, and collectively, the Mekong region is now pushing in the range of 30 million international tourist arrivals a year. So, it's definitely on the up and up.
It's not just the number of people coming, it's the money they're spending.
Sure.
And if we can see, are you seeing evidence that the actual tourism receipts are increasing as well?
In some cases, yes, and in other cases, not. But it's something that we're paying attention to and definitely trying to encourage patterns where there's longer lengths of stay and definitely more people spending more money.
But you would be confident that there are better times ahead for the tourism industry as a whole in this region?
Absolutely.
Mason Florence, thank you very much for going on the record. Well, that's it for this week's show. My thanks to Mason Florence from the Mekong Tourism Coordinating Office and to Robert Yearman and all the team here at the Dream Hotel. So until the same time next week, from everyone on the Travel Show, it's goodbye.